The morning air was cold and heavy with mist over Fort Benning, Georgia. The sound of marching boots echoed against the concrete, mixing with the low growl of thunder rolling in the distance. Rows of new recruits stood shoulder to shoulder in soaked fatigues, their rifles at their sides, their faces tight with fatigue and nerves. Major Daniel Brooks, a hardened U.S. Army instructor with 2 decades of service, walked down the line with the kind of precision only years of combat could shape. His uniform was pressed to perfection, the ribbons on his chest a reminder of battles fought and brothers lost. He had seen everything. The eager ones, the scared ones, the ones who thought war was a movie and the ones who never came back. To him, this was just another training cycle, another set of recruits who needed to be broken down and rebuilt. But his eyes caught on one figure near the middle of the line, a young woman, smaller than most, standing perfectly still despite the rain that ran down her face. She didn't fidget. She didn't look nervous. She looked still, controlled, focused. Her name tag read, Reynolds. She looked like any other fresh recruit, her sleeves rolled up neatly, boots shining, gaze fixed forward. But something about her presence made Brooks pause for half a second before moving on. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the calm. Maybe it was the silence. The weeks that followed were brutal, as they always were. Physical training at dawn, tactical drills till dusk, endless inspections and simulations. Recruits broke down, cursed, cried, or quit. But Private Reynolds never did. She was quiet, almost withdrawn, but every move she made was deliberate. When others faltered, she held steady. When exhaustion hit the unit, she pushed harder. Brooks noticed. Against his will, he noticed. He started checking her file, just a quick glance out of curiosity. It didn't say much. No prior service, no notable background. Civilian transfer, cleared for standard training. But something felt off. She wasn't learning like the others. She was remembering. The way she handled her rifle, the way she covered her corners during drills. It was the muscle memory of someone who had been in the field before. He confronted her once during a tactical exercise, after she managed to coordinate her entire squad out of an ambush simulation with surgical precision. "Reynolds," he said sternly, "who taught you to move like that?" She looked up at him with calm, unshaken eyes. "Just following training, sir." There was something in her tone, polite, steady, but final. Like she had closed a door he had no right to open. But rumors started spreading. Some recruits whispered that she used to be Special Forces. Others claimed she was related to someone high up in command. But Reynolds never spoke about herself. She ate alone, trained alone, and slept like someone haunted by something she refused to speak about. Then came the live field exercise. It was a foggy morning in the woods outside the base. The recruits were running a mock combat scenario, infiltration, communication, and extraction under simulated enemy fire. Everything was going smoothly until an accidental flare gave away their position. Chaos erupted. Blank rounds cracked through the trees, smoke grenades hissed, and commands shouted over radios turned to static. The recruits panicked. They scattered, breaking formation. Major Brooks, watching from the command point, cursed under his breath. "Damn it," he muttered, grabbing his radio. "They've lost cohesion." And then, through the haze, one voice cut through the confusion. Calm, commanding. "Bravo team, flank left. Cover fire on my mark." Brooks turned toward the sound. It was Reynolds. She moved like she'd done it 100 times before, crawling through mud, signaling her team, pulling 2 recruits out from a crossfire zone, and setting up a counter-offensive position. Within minutes, she turned a complete collapse into an organized retreat. When the simulation ended, the instructors reviewed the footage in silence. One of them looked at Brooks. "She's not new," he said quietly. "No rookie moves like that." Brooks didn't respond. He just stared at the screen where Reynolds stood, her face streaked with mud, her eyes empty but steady. A few days later came the inspection ceremony, a formal event, the kind that brought the entire base together. Every recruit stood in dress uniform, medals and insignia polished, the flag rippling in the soft breeze. Senior officers attended, and the atmosphere carried that quiet mix of pride and discipline that only the military could command. Brooks walked down the line, inspecting each soldier. But when he stopped in front of Reynolds, his breath caught for a moment. Pinned to her chest, gleaming under the sunlight, was a Silver Star medal, the third highest military decoration for valor in combat. That couldn't be right. A recruit didn't wear that. Not unless... The entire field seemed to still. The other soldiers began to glance at her, recognizing what that medal meant. Valor, sacrifice, a story of courage beyond fear. Brooks stepped closer, his voice low. "Private Reynolds, that medal, where did you get it?" Her voice was quiet but unwavering. "It wasn't mine, sir," she said softly. "It was awarded to Captain Michael Reynolds, my brother." The name hit like a wave. Every soldier on that field had heard it. Captain Michael Reynolds, the officer who had saved an entire convoy in Afghanistan 3 years earlier, holding the line under heavy fire until reinforcements arrived. He didn't make it back. His Silver Star had been awarded posthumously, and now standing before them was his sister, carrying not just his name, but his legacy. Brooks felt something shift inside him. He had misjudged her. Not just her, but the quiet strength that grief can forge. She hadn't come to prove herself. She had come to continue what her brother had started, to serve in his place, to earn her own story in the shadow of his sacrifice. After that day, things changed. Recruits who once doubted themselves began to draw courage from her. They called her Steelheart behind her back, a nickname born from respect, not mockery. She never sought attention, never spoke about her brother again, but the fire she carried inside her seemed to light something in everyone around her. Months later, when her training group graduated, it was Reynolds who led the march. As she stepped forward to receive her insignia, every soldier on that base stood tall, saluting not just her, but what she represented. The medal on her chest shone in the morning light, a symbol of courage carried forward, not left behind. Major Brooks handed her the insignia, his voice thick with something he rarely allowed himself to feel. "Your brother would be proud," he said quietly. Reynolds met his gaze, her eyes steady. "He already is, sir," she said, "because I didn't let his story end." And in that moment, the parade ground fell into a silence that felt sacred. Every soldier there knew they had witnessed something more powerful than a graduation. They had seen what true legacy looked like. The kind that lives not in medals or stories, but in the quiet strength of those who carry on. That day, the entire base stood taller, not because they were ordered to, but because a single soldier reminded them what it meant to wear the uniform. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like and share it. Stories like this keep the spirit of courage, sacrifice, and honor alive, reminding us that sometimes the bravest hearts are the ones who carry someone else's memory forward. Special request to comment. Who in your life has inspired you to stand tall, even when life tested your strength? Share their story below, because heroes live on through the ones they've inspired.